When candidate Joe Biden was on the campaign trail, he made a promise to the American people not to build another foot of the border wall. And after pausing border wall construction in his first day in office to conduct a review of border wall funding and contracts, his administration then committed to repair levees that were damaged during the border wall construction without expanding the wall. According to the Texas Civil Rights Project, recent on-the-ground reports at both staging and levee wall construction sites indicate that now President Biden is breaking his promises and building more sections of the border wall. Here's what they consider border wall. They are building guardrails on top of the levees. Guardrails, which implies a safety concern at some point. Guardrails, they're calling parts of the border wall. Just the fact that it's a levee, that, hey, it's kind of a dangerous area. You know, we don't want people falling in the water as it's flooding in the levee area. But, this is border wall, legitimate border wall. We cannot be fooled into thinking that these are repairs to the levees. These are legitimate pieces of the border wall. This is what they're saying. This is literally what they're saying. Do you really believe the Biden administration is going to build the border wall without there being some sort of big announcement from Fox News? Hey, listen, Biden is building the border wall. Here we are again. Build back better. Build wall better. But the big news today, the big news yesterday was out of the U.S. Southern District Court in Houston, one Judge Andrew Hanen ruled that the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program might not have been that was created by Barack Obama, who supposedly did not have the legal authority to create DACA back in 2012, according to his ruling. And we have ourselves a immigration attorney to talk about this right now, Naim Haroon Sakhia. What is, just to get everybody up to speed, what is the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program?
Well, this is a program which was instituted by President Obama in 2012, and it addressed the issues or the dilemmas facing those kids who were brought into the United States at a very young age, and they were facing prospects of completing their high school education, but then be not able to do anything in terms of education or professionalism. So he was trying to create a program for those kids, or at least a slice of the immigration problem to be addressed by giving these people temporary reprieve from removal, as well as granting them work authorization so that they can continue their studies and work.
So then Andrew Hanen comes out yesterday and rules that President Barack Obama did not have the legal authority to create this in the first place. And before we talk about what that means, what's the process when a ruling like this comes out? So they're freezing applications, yes, but who's going to oppose this? Who's going to challenge this, and what's that process going to look like?
Well, there were 10 states led by the state of Texas who challenged this program on the grounds that, first, Obama did not have the authority, or any president did not have the authority to go and implement this program through a memorandum instead of going through the legislative act of the Congress. And secondly, they said that because of this program, these states, the 10 states who joined the lawsuit, were incurring a huge amount of money in terms of providing services to these individuals who were DACA recipients. People who were on the other side argued that the cost has not been, or the harm has not been shown, because these individuals are now productive members of the society and they are paying taxes and largely self-sufficient. Secondly, they said that they are going to appeal this ruling. I think Mr. Biden this morning also said that the Department of Justice is going to appeal this ruling as well. So to answer your question, what happens next? The ruling yesterday basically said that people who are already in the program can continue with the benefit, but U.S. immigration will not accept new applications. When it is appealed, and most likely there will be an injunction requested with the appeal, I think things will remain the way they were till the time the Court of Appeals make a ruling on this decision. And if it goes to the Fifth Circuit and there is a ruling on that, most likely it will end up again in the U.S. Supreme Court like it did last year.
Our guest right now on Views from the 956 is Naim Haroon Sakhia, who is an immigration attorney. And we're talking about Judge Andrew Hanen and this new ruling yesterday that was issued saying that President Barack Obama did not have the legal authority to create the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program back in 2012. So let me ask you another question. How are we doing on immigration attorneys in general right now? Because we've had a huge amount of influx from the Central American countries to America,
Well,
and it's just we've kind of been bogged down recently, for lack of a better word, right now.
yeah, so I think there is some peddling of the point of view going on both sides. When the Department of Homeland Security came out with figures, I think last week, saying that they have arrested and deported or sent back about 1 million people who were trying to come into the United States. On the other hand, we hear the argument that the border is wide open and everybody is coming in. So I think the reality is somewhere in between. As far as the immigration lawyers are concerned, obviously, those people who are outside the United States who were basically provided shelter in Mexico or asked to remain in Mexico while their asylum cases were being, processed, they were not getting a whole lot of representation for various logistical reasons. But now that the policy has changed, Biden immigration administration is allowing people who are able to go through the first credible fear interview with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, and it felt that they have a credible or perhaps at least a case which can be heard, then they are being given hearing notices and allowed into the United States through a systematic process where they are being identified, registered, and then allowed in. So yes, it's a busy border. It's a busy climate for immigration. A lot is going on.
Yeah,
Everything is up in the air right now.
yeah, I can imagine. Can you explain the Title 42 situation at the moment?
Yeah, so Title 42 basically allowed that because of the public health concerns, U.S. immigration can turn these people back and put them in those tents which were created for them in the shelter on Mexican land. What happened is it basically overburdened the U.S. Department of Homeland Security because now not only that those officers had to process the people coming in, they also had to provide shelter to them and then provide all the logistical requirements which were associated with those tent cities. So it overwhelmed people, and I think that perhaps that policy is under consideration for reversal at this time, given the fact that COVID situation is also very fluid. So everything, as I said, is up in the air right now in terms of Title 42 restrictions as well.
Yeah, that's true. There is a lot up in the air right now. Our guest on Views from the 956 is Naim Haroon Sakhia, our immigration attorney, our guest on Views from the 956. Now, going back to DACA, everything's kind of in stasis right now. It's kind of frozen. What do you think the outcome is going to be for this ruling from Judge Andrew Hanen?
Well, it will be appealed for sure because every party who is affected by this has indicated so. And depending on the arguments we hear in the appeals process, we will be able to basically figure out what could be the likely ruling. Now, there's a public policy aspect of this also. There are about 800,000 individuals who have been benefited from this program. And the judge in the ruling yesterday basically wrote that he gave an example that you really don't want to unscramble an scrambled egg or trying to put the toothpaste back in the toothpaste tube. There are people who are already benefiting from this, which has provided a path to some sort of normal life to these people. And to upset everybody who is involved and who has benefited from this, not just those recipients, but also those communities where they spend the money, the employers they work for, the work they do, the productivity which is coming from those people, everything will basically be unraveling. And is that something which is wise in terms of public policy? That is also a big consideration in this whole proceeding.
Right,
So
because we don't have the. I'm sorry to interrupt you. We don't have the means to deport 800,000. Like logistically, I'm not even being political about it, but we don't have the means to deport 800,000 people. Correct?
Well, even if we had the means, the question is it a sound public policy? Imagine 800,000 people who are disgruntled, who have no other country known to them except the United States. who are also very productive members of the society. I'm sure there are people who are not that productive, but by and large, they are mostly productive. Do you really want to put those 800,000 people outside this country, outside this economy, in a situation where employers are complaining constantly that they cannot find workers for the jobs they already have? Secondly, if you remember pre-COVID, the unemployment rate was about 3%. This is as close to full employment as you can get. So in a society, in an economy which is really struggling to find workers, do you want to pick 800,000 people and take them out of the economy? Does it make any public policy sense? I think that is something which can be debated.
Legally, how likely is it for them to get deported? It's not very likely, right?
It's going to be very hard legally also, because immigration judges are the only people who have the authority to order removal, and the immigration courts already are backlogged. They have about 1.3 million cases pending.
Oh my God!
Add to them these 800,000 people, and hope for the best.
Hey, I want to thank you for your time. Very good insight. I hope to talk to you again soon. That's Naim Haroon Sakhia, who is an immigration attorney, our guest on Views from the 956. This DACA thing,